We're joined today by Mark Pickering, Energy and Commodities Director, who will be speaking to us about the future of energy trading, some of his insights, some of his opinions, as well as some of the things he's been seeing today. So Mark, lovely to speak to you. And so I'm wondering if you can tell me a little bit about some of the trends in the industry, some of the things that you're seeing today.
I think one of the main things I've seen, or one of the big things I've seen is around the ETRM space. Big vendors came to market. They built out some really credible solutions, and those solutions then it became a situation where, as a CIO, you pretty much couldn't build your own unless you'd already done it. You couldn't invest the money in the people in the place. So you went to the market and you bought those systems.
So Mark, when we're speaking with clients, we do notice a few consistent themes that seem to emerge again and again, especially recently. What comes to mind for you?
Probably around legacy. It's been there forever, and the technical debt that's around is huge. And I think it's something we've always seen, but it continues. And as I mentioned before, a lot of that is around the ETRM space. And I think as ETRMs have matured and almost lived their life in some aspects, I think that they are becoming legacy, and that's causing a lot of issues and a lot of cost, and CIOs have to look into that, and it forms a big part of their budget. Obviously, from more a commercial side of things, the big move to net zero is pushing the industry. Companies are moving to increase their asset class because of the renewables. They need to optimize that space. Data is huge. We see a lot of requirements from that. People are trying to do whatever they possibly can to optimize their data space, build data analytics tools. Lots of customers come to that, and we feel that we do a really good job in that space.
It feels like, to me at least, that ETRMs are no longer the golden sources that organizations thought they were. So it's almost like that's been relegated from being the star in the solar system to a planet. So what's the future then if it's moving away from ETRMs, if it's building services outside of ETRMs?
There are a lot of companies that have, they've spent a lot of money, invested a lot of time and energy in those platforms. Personally, I think there's kind of like two or three ways to go. One, if you've got your internal solution that you've always had, then you're in a pretty decent spot as long as you've maintained that skill set around that. If you've got an old legacy system, then it's like, well, for me, it's like you're really looking at paring back the functionality in that, keeping the core, because you probably need a few books and records, but then thinking about using building your external, your route to innovation, your route to the market, building that outside of that product. That can be microservices, as you said, but it's technology sets that you can then maintain. So you will, in your organization, have a skill set that has to manage that, and you're going to have to buy that if you haven't already got it, and you'll have to manage that and maintain that. We've almost come all the way through to a place where, is it the holy grail anymore to have the ETRM solution from vendors? And there's lots of talk in the market about whether that is right or not, but this is just my view.
And with one eye towards the future, what do you think the future of energy trading looks like?
Clearly, the drive to net zero, the climate change, the energy transition, whatever you want to call it, it's all moving everybody that way. People are moving from hydrocarbons. Energy companies want to get in there and manage as many of the assets they can. You see these big companies that are going out and buying all the small renewable organizations up, and then building very impressive asset optimization software around that space to basically maximize their profits, but also ensure that we have a kind of better future from the carbon zero perspective.
What gets in the way of successful delivery for these organizations?
Every successful delivery I've ever seen has been actually driven from the business, and I think that is fundamental. And if you can get a really, really strong business driver pushing the solution, it's not your solution, the solution, then you've got a much better chance of success. And I've been lucky to have some of those in my career, and we've built some fantastic products. But it's key. It's really key. If you don't have the trust of the business, and trust is the key word there as well. You just, you're onto a losing streak. It's very difficult. Bringing third-party trusted partnerships, which we'd hope to be. It's the sort of thing that we do at Digitera, and something that I've picked up over my couple of years here. I've done it a little bit before, but moving to an agile approach. It's been kind of eye-opening for me, learning from you guys and seeing how you use this approach within organisations. And back in the day, I was a bit sceptical when agile came out, and I know there's a lot of people that use agile for the sake of it and just go by the way it works. But I think the way I've seen the guys at Digitera use it, it's very nice approach, and it's flexible. It's not as rigid as many people think. And it creates really good results.
So if you were to give advice to current or future CIOs, what might you say?
Creating a really strong relationship with your key stakeholders, and understanding that your IT group, your customer is the business, and internally it's the business. Third parties, like a Digitera, we come in, the client is our client, and we will do everything we can to make that client successful and make the solutions we put. It has to be the same internally for the CIO. That's what you're doing. You're not just building up your empire. You create an organisation that is going to solve solutions to enable the business to be successful. And so, building up those relationships, having key relationships, understanding what the stakeholders need, and building up that trust, and then being able to speak their language. There's so much techno babble. It's been going on for ages. People still talk about it. There's new terms that come about, but it still is babble in my mind.
I think that's a lovely place to end it on, Mark. And so I couldn't say it better than myself. So business understanding, communication, and relationships. Thank you again, Mark, for the conversation. Mark Pickering, our Energy and Commodities Director, and looking forward to speaking to you next time as we interview a few clients. See you next time.